Speedrunning represents the absolute pinnacle of video gaming skill. Taking a video game and beating it in as quick and efficient a manner as possible takes hours upon hours of practice and dedication. Something that might take a casual player 40 plus hours to complete might take a speedrunner all of 40 minutes. Probably the greatest showcase of the varied and immense scene of uber skillful gamers out there is the fantastic Games Done Quick charity marathons. 7 days of non-stop, back-to-back video game demolitions, all the while raising millions of dollars for charity. As another fantastic GDQ event draws to a close this Saturday, let's take a look at a bunch of Game Boy games that can in fact be beaten ludicrously quickly. Note that not all this game footage is of me, in fact most of it isn't. I'm not usually skilled enough, but I've given credit where it's due. Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's actually possible to beat the easy mode of Dracula in like 3.5 minutes without using any glitchiness, but if you want to thoroughly confuse the game, you can perform this out of bounds trick. Usually pressing down and jump will let you drop down a thin platform, but if you do this while also falling, it's a bit finicky, but even I can do it. You can phase through the floor. Then just shimmy off to the left of each level, and when you pass through the left-hand boundary of any stage, the game just doesn't know what to do with itself, so it does the only thing it can think of and auto-completes the level. Repeat this for all 4 stages to beat the whole game in like a minute and a half. The Addams Family. In a similar creepy vein, but a much worse game, you can beat the dismal platform of the Addams Family in around a minute. If there were ever a game that needed to be finished quickly, it's this one. Here, it's possible to go straight to the last level of the game through a combination of pixel-perfect jumps to get through this stairwell without triggering the level transition, then a really simple way to cheese the final boss. Altered Space. In the realm of games it feels good to beat without actually having to play it all that much, the isometric death simulator Altered Space can be demolished in around 5 minutes if you're good enough. This happens to be one of my least favourite Game Boy games, period, so I'm not putting myself through learning it for the sake of this video, but just look at Japanese runner Natadeko's amazing sub-5 run that's stood as the world record for more than 3 years now. Presumably because nobody else wanted to try. Rolands Curse. Altered Space in 5 minutes is one thing, but a massive RPG? Surely not. Rolands Curse is again a game that's had the 5-minute boundary smashed by not 1, but 3 different runners so far. I'm not sure entirely how they skip to the final boss here. I'm assuming some sort of death warp, but I couldn't find any guide explaining it. Here's current second placeholder CosX's video showing that it can be done. Pokemon Red and Blue. It's not just smaller developers who left holes in their programming to allow speedrunners to exploit the games, as the last 3 titles will demonstrate. Pokemon Gen 1 is super famous for its glitches, infinite Master Balls, level 255 monsters, all that good stuff, but it's actually possible to glitch to the final room behind the Elite Four in less than 3 minutes if you want. Sure, it's kinda tedious to do so, and it defeats the purpose of the game, but runners don't often care about that sort of stuff. Basically, you need to start a brand new save on a very particular frame to trigger a very specific trainer ID number, then after a series of very specific inputs, save corruptions, inventory manips, and all sorts of other complicated things that you can see here, you can beat the Pokemon League without ever having to leave your bedroom. Super Mario Land 2. Hey, even Mario isn't immune. In what might be the most bizarre example of memory manipulation on the system, it's possible for Mario to escape the earthly realms of Super Mario Land 2 and visit the cartridge's memory banks. It's done by skillfully exiting a level, i.e. dying, while Mario is entering the transition state he's in when descending a pipe. When you then start your next life, Mario will still be in this transition state, which causes him to fall through the floor as if he were still in the pipe. If there's no level data, other bits of map for example, underneath him, he'll continue to plummet into all this void of messy nonsense. Then, well, he somehow just wins the game. Link's Awakening. Surely not Link's Awakening 2. Yep, you can beat the grandest adventure of them all in less than 3 minutes. It's got something to do with screen wrapping, whereby you're able to teleport to the other side of the playfield when transitioning between screens, which, as you might expect, makes it very easy to go out of bounds. Once you've got your sword, it's not that much of a stretch to go straight for Nightmare Ganon and forego all that silly dungeon stuff. So there you have it, 7 Game Boy games that can be completely broken open by use of clever glitches and memory manipulations, or just downright good skill. Thank you so much to all the runners who allowed me to use their footage. I'm very grateful to not have to learn these tricks myself. Please do check out their respective Twitch pages and support their streams. If you have any other totally busted and broken Game Boy speedruns, leave them in the comments below, and make sure to tune in to the final day of Summer Games Done Quick if you can.